Hello, it's a great honor to participate in the Congress. The title of this paper is Traditional Indicators and Fleuriet Model for Liquidity Measured in the Treasury of Non-Financial Institutions in Times of Crisis. I'm Rodolfo Vieira Nunes and presentation of this paper. The co-authors Jorge André White Salles and Alexandre Gonçalves. The introduction about this paper. Two crisis periods were identified in Brazil between 2008 and 2018. With this scenario, companies increased their concern with behavior and the impacts of liquidity in the Treasury departments. The research question determined with their liquidity indicators that the best represent the Treasury Department status in times of crisis. How the objective? Understand how the 2008 financial crisis and the Brazilian economic crisis of 2014 altered in some way the usual liquidity model adopted in the Treasury Department of non-financial companies. The theoretical framework represents the figure about the Treasury. The Treasury plays a key role in strategy decision. This is the best important information about this picture. About the influence of the economic crisis in the cash management. You have a lot of studies about the authors along the years, but in summary, the organization's cash is correlated with the economic index, either in periods of expansion or recession. About the liquidity. You have two different liquidity, corporate liquidity and financial asset liquidity. In this paper, use the studies about corporate liquidity. Corporate liquidity denotes the ways to set obligation with the third parties. How the reasons about the liquidity. Keynes talk about four: transaction, precautionary, speculative, and finance. Have two more: tax about the following and agent conflict about the agency. The methodology about this paper. The population, the companies that are listed in the B3, Brazilian Stock Exchange, but the population used two selection. The first, I use the Ibovespa index, 59 companies. Exclusion are companies in the financial sector. You have now 48 companies. And the last, about the period 2007 2016, 36 companies is the final sample. The data about the regression model, pinel data or longitudinal data, and I use variable dependent liquidity in the treasury. Liquidity in the treasury have three types of liquidity: net working capital, current asset minus current liability, working capital requirement, operation recurrent asset minus operation current liabilities, and treasury balance, current financial assets minus current financial liabilities. Exploratory variables. You have 21 exploratory variables and the different types about liquidity, debt coverage, debt measurement, capital structure, profitability, Fleuriet model, treasury situation, and about cash flow. The data. You have a dummy variable, expansion or recession, about the CODAS index, and exogenous variable, GDP. You have 6 regression. The third first use the dummy, and the last 3 you use the GDP. How about the first compare the regression 1 and regression 4? The CODAS expansion or recession variable has a negative impact in equation 1. The GDP variable has a positive impact in equation 4. They compare the regression 2 and regression 5. The CODAS has a positive influence on equation 2 and the GDP has a negative influence in the equation 5. They compare the regression 3 and regression 6. The CODAS has a positive influence in equation 3, and the GDP has a negative influence on the equation 6. The conclusion about the paper. Based on the statistical data, regression 1 and 4 are more in line with operation and financial liquidity has the present elements that may indicate current and or future liquidity situation. The time 2008-2009, liquidity in terms of transaction, that is the evidence show an increase in leverage and indebtedness financial ratios and a drop in liquidity ratio. In the period 2014-2016, the precautionary liquidity reasons the prolonged effects of the crisis in an urgent short-term cash needed. On the evidence, you can say be that periods of crisis impact negative or positive the cash level in the organization. About the limitations, different between expansion and recession period, capture the variation between cycle change. You increase the companies listed in B3, and the suggestion new endogenous and exogenous variable, exchange rate, taxes, USD bond, inflation, investment, merger and acquisition, red, and about and another suggestion, a great geographic coverage of the survey. Another countries about their compare the conclusion these papers and another studies. Thank you very much. I appreciate your commentaries.